Greetings of peace and welcome. My name is Anthea Alexander, and I'm joined this evening, this cold, wintry evening in Melbourne, where it's 11 degrees, and it's also 11 degrees in far north Queensland, I've learned. And before recently, I actually didn't realise it got that cold. So you live and learn all the time. I thought it was Melbourne that was sort of copped the coldest weather for Australia, but it's not necessarily the case. So I'm joined this evening by my lovely colleagues and co-hosts and friends, and they will introduce themselves to you and to share perhaps a little bit about what they get up to, and also join in discussing and adding insights and from personal experience and also professional experience from some of us about our topic this evening. And our topic is managing chronic illness and pain. And I was tempted, and I have added the word successfully, because we want to manage it for sure, but we want to manage it as successfully as possible. And that doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect. Of course not. Nothing is perfect in this world. But we aim for success and aim to be positive, aim for positive outcomes as much as possible. So a little bit of background on our discussion. So each Friday evening, when we can and when we're available, we meet together on Zoom and pick a topic in advance, and then we discuss the topic together. We take turns at contributing. People contribute as much as or as little as they wish to. If people are joining for the first time or they feel more comfortable with their video off, that's perfectly fine in this forum. Just to listen, to get an understanding of the group and who we are as people. It's very much about providing a safe and trusted and sacred space to share your thoughts and feelings, which may put us in a bit of a vulnerable position, and that's what it's about. However, we are also quite open to, if you don't want that the session is recorded, and the purpose of that is to share it with people who might not be able to make it live, and for others to watch it a second or a repeat time if they choose to. But if you are wanting a certain section not to be recorded, just let us know. We can stop the recording, or we can edit it out if you have second thoughts about it. I think that's okay. So I'm really, really excited and not really able to think straight at the moment, because I'm going on a retreat and a personal break next week to Bali. So it's 4 sleeps, but who's counting? And I'm so excited for a number of reasons. I'm excited professionally and personally. And I'm also excited because this will be the first real holiday that I will have since before our pandemic. So it's been a long time. And I feel I try and say excitement rather than nervousness, because they say our nervous system doesn't really understand the difference between being nervous or excitement. It's a very similar feeling, apparently. Maybe that's something we can discuss another evening. But so I'm trying to err on the excitement side. But having a lot of trouble thinking clearly, and but still preparing nevertheless. I'm really grateful for this forum and this opportunity to think about something else for a little while. And I always enjoy these evenings. They give me a lot of things to think about, and it helps me to share my experiences as well. I think I'll leave it for there. I'll let everybody introduce themselves, and then I can express a little bit more about my experiences with pain and working with people and helping people, caring for relatives who have experienced pain as well. So I'll pass it over to Rae for now. Over to you, Rae.
Thank you, Anthea, and hello, everybody. Love my Friday evenings with you guys. So I'm in far north Queensland, where it is also 11. It's freezing. We're dying. I'm wearing the dead emu tonight because I'm cold. I call it the dead emu because if you throw it on the ground, it looks like an emu that's been hit by a truck. So he said, yes. Anyway, I wear it when it's cold. Um, what I do all day is I'm a ceramic artist, so I make pottery, and I've been led down the path to end up as a ceramic artist because of my career as a nurse, which I did for 30 something years, and took up pottery as a work life balance and fell in love. And consequently, I make pottery for the funeral industry. So cremation urns and angels and things like that. So I'm very experienced in grief and loss, very experienced in critical care, palliative care, all sorts of hospital stuff. And I will tell you a secret about my nursing career when it comes round to my turn again. So now I'm going to hand it over to Georgie to introduce herself.
Hi everyone. Good to be here again with you all. And I'm Georgina Fielder. I'm from North Queensland, Mareeba. I'm a spinal flow practitioner. I've started up a business, Nervous System Solutions, and yeah, I at the moment I yeah, am doing lots of healing on myself, and I'm doing a few sessions in that, but I'm just taking a bit of time out at the moment to get myself better from the pain and everything that I've had, which has been really good. I used to have it in my whole body, and but I only have it like from my calf muscles to my feet now when I'm walking. So I'm getting a little bit excited of getting off crutches that I've been on for the last 2 years. And that's about me. I'll hand it over to Michael.
Thanks, Georgie. And can I just begin by saying that it's lovely to see both of your smiling faces again, Georgie and Rae. So I'm glad that you're both able to join us again this evening. I have to apologize if I'm maybe not at my best this evening because I've lost sort of a couple of days in the last few days to sort of pain and just being generally unwell. So I am a bit slow. And yeah, I am not at the top of my game by any stretch of the imagination. So apologies in advance. In my day job, I work in the lovely Northern Rivers. So I live in northern New South Wales, just south of Tweed Heads, which is a lovely part of the world. And I work predominantly in a vocational education setting with students of English as a second language. So teaching mature age students English. And I work with a lot of culturally and linguistically diverse communities and groups as part of that work. But when I'm not in a classroom setting, I tend to spend a lot of my time exploring the sorts of topics that we discuss on a Friday evening. So everything ranging from interpersonal communication and human relationships through to spirituality and self-actualization, psychology, those sorts of subjects. And I'm keen to sort of hear what the experiences of the rest of the group have been in terms of dealing with um, pain and maybe health challenges, not only personally, but maybe in a work environment or with loved ones, because it's always helpful to develop tools and strategies to enable you to cope. I thought it was a good idea that Anthea tacked on successfully to our proposed topic, although I must admit that at the moment I don't feel like I'm doing it all that successfully. So hopefully I can pick up some tips this evening. So I will pass it over to the lovely Sanji so that he can introduce himself.
Thank you, Mike. It's always nice to be here and very nice to see, like Mike said, Rae and Georgie back. And Anthea is going for a nice vacation. So, but we will miss her also, no? But she'll be back. And yeah, I'm Sanjeev, and I'm a meditation teacher. I do online work, and I'm now close to like a postal area. But this week I was feeling like not well, and then there was like pain, as mentioned. No, pain is always there. I think in one extent or another. We'll talk about it in more depth. For me, also, I had personal experience as a monk. We visit hospitals. I'm sure Ray or everybody has like a lot of things to say about this. No, Georgie surely can say a lot of things. Anthea, Mike, and so we used to go and visit sick people. And I remember one time I had to go and visit couple of people from that particular area. Then just in case, I thought uh, there was person, maybe give him more priority and like visit him last. But luckily my mind switched and like I said, maybe I go and just see him first, no? And then he had a cancer, like he had little kids, but he was like alcoholic and his whole body was in such pain. Like even if they were small children, like they were playing around his bed actually, and when they even they hit against the bed, it was painful for him. So I'm sure everybody has. So I have been with people. I'm sure Ray also has a lot of experience. Now we also been like people who were dying, and so there were some people like their whole body was almost like blue in color, but still they were breathing. And when you touch their hands and all, it was cold. Uh, so, but still, their mind was there. But it seemed, and then I talked to many people who had gone through bomb explosions, car accidents, just to see because I have not gone through those, no. So I just asked after the situation is better. Yeah, luckily I didn't end up with a black eye or something, no? And then I asked like, what happened at that time? Or how did you feel, no? And so we'll get to that. So I think it's a good topic. And in spirituality and all, they talk like all is just pain. We cannot avoid it. Either pleasurable, it's called sensations actually. Yeah, we usually connect it with the gruesome side, no, that the difficult side. But in spirituality, they call it sensations, and there are pleasurable ones, unpleasurable, and mind-born ones. Yeah. So for the body physicality, there are only two types mentioned. Either it's sukha dukkha. It means like you feel comfortable or uncomfortable. But with the mind, you can have like three types. Uh, like somanasa, domanasa, yeah, dukkam sukha. You can have comfortable sensations, uncomfortable, as well as the neutral ones. It doesn't matter, like no, we don't fall into either category. So even if it comes through our body, there is a big chance we can switch it through our minds. We'll get to all these things. So I'll hand it over to Anthea. Anthea, please. I think everybody has a lot of things to say about this, no?
Thank you, Sanji. Thank you, Ray, Georgie, and Michael for your introductions and for joining us this evening. And welcome back, Ray and Georgie. We did miss you last week. So basically, with our topic, we've got two aspects there. We've got illness and pain, and we've also got chronic, managing and successfully. So just breaking down our topic. So illness, the way I see it, and I'm happy to hear the thoughts of anyone else, is like a dis-ease. Like if you break up the words dis-ease, it's like a dis-ease of the body. So there's something that's not quite right with the body. The body's out of alignment, not even necessarily the body. It could be our emotions. It could be any part of our being. So looking at ourselves holistically. And then, so it's almost the diagnosis, if you want to look at it medically, of what is going on. And then with pain is a symptom of perhaps the disease or the illness that we're experiencing, or that somebody is experiencing, or an animal, or even a plant, I would say. It has been proven. So the pain can be, there are so many different types of pain. I would love to hear from some of you more about that. And also they look at pain in terms of whether it's sort of acute pain. So if we break our leg in a car accident, then there's that acute pain, potentially. It depends how our body responds. And if we have pain from, just say, shingles virus, or that could end up being like a chronic pain. I'm not sure how they define it at the moment, but I experienced chronic facial pain, which the medical profession think was from shingles virus that I didn't have the rash from, and it left damage 20 years ago. And when that was diagnosed, they talked about chronic pain in terms of 2 months, the pain that is ongoing for more than 2 months. And then it needs to be treated differently because it changes its sort of the whole way it works, affects our body, our brain, where it's coming from, its impacts with our nervous system. But I'll also let other people discuss that and teach us more about that. So what I was wanting to add was definitely, I think it will be great if we can talk about some tips for managing pain successfully, perhaps towards the end. And then I would love to talk more about my personal experience with pain, both my own pain and pain of others that I've loved and I still love. And also, I would love to talk about some of the study that I've done, some of the sort of modalities that I have studied and practiced, specifically towards pain, because that's been such a big part of my life. So I'm always wanting to help people who are experiencing pain, whether it be emotional, spiritual, physical, whatever level. And also wanted to share a little bit about pain and how it's viewed in Islamic teachings. So perhaps I'll share that a little bit later. So I would now love to pass it over to Rae and to hear from her in terms of her personal and professional experience and insights. So over to you, Rae. I'm looking forward to what you have to say.
Thank you, Anthea. So my first thought on this subject is this is not my thing. This chronic pain. It's chronic pain. I've never had chronic pain. Oh, gosh. So I thought that I would approach it as a health professional. So the things that are important from a health professional point of view, I'll just turn that off. So the secret thing I was going to tell you guys about my nursing career is not most of it, but nearly half of my nursing career, I've been a nurse educator. So I've tried to educate all manner of nurses, from the ones older than me, experienced people, getting them through their competencies, their basic life support, and then workshops on all sorts of things. My particular thing that I loved is patient safety and trying to nurse people with no judgment. And of course, pain comes in into that all the time. The biggest thing I had with pain is, just talk about, split it into acute pain and then chronic pain. So with acute pain, every single person experiences acute pain differently, right? And then every single nurse will judge that and decide whether they are tough or a sook. And that is such a barrier to the level of care that everybody receives. So if they think you're carrying on like a pork chop, they will put off, not every nurse, but the nurses that I'm trying to bend their thoughts about, if they think you're a sook, they will put off getting you seen by a doctor. They'll minimise the level of pain that person is experiencing by saying things like, oh, they're just a sook to the doctor, and therefore the doctor can underprescribe pain relief or any sort of pain measures, and that's such a drama. So what I've really learned in a nutshell with acute pain is everyone experiences pain differently because of what they have experienced in their life. So as a child, if they had broken every bone in their body, right, but by the time they're 22 and they break their arm, they don't even blink, right, because they're used to that. They know it's not going to kill them. They just handle it, the stress of it, and the whole healing process so much easier compared to someone that's never broken a bone and then they break their arm at 22. And those people are in shock. They don't know what's happening. Their stress levels are so much higher. Yeah, so it's very, very different, very, very subjective. And what else? I wanted to just talk about childbirth and stuff. So I know for myself, I had abdominal surgery when I was 21, and I thought that, oh my God, I thought that was excruciating pain. Then when I was 30-something, I had a baby, right, and I was in labour for 47 and a half hours, and that was so painful. And I tell you what, everything else after that is nothing. I had a gallbladder attack that lasted 8 hours. I didn't even think about going to the hospital, and everyone went, what the heck are you doing? And I thought, it's only 8 hours. It's only 8 hours. I was fine. Right. So the secret with acute pain is you must accept the patient's experience of it. If they're telling you it's a 9 out of 10 and it's a little paper cut on their finger, you treat them like it's a 9 out of 10. You don't go, that's a paper cut, that should be a 1. It's a big no-no. And trying to get that through health professionals' heads is very difficult. Rightio. So, yeah. The other big advantage, the difference with acute pain is your body readings will tell the story as well. They've got high blood pressure, heart rate is racing, they might be sweating, they look grey. So their pain level is more believable, more clinically proven because of that. Right. That when you get into chronic pain, like as Anthea said, over 2 months, people with chronic pain look like everybody else. They're calm, they're not grey, they look the same colour, their heart rate's the same, but they may be experiencing what I would call a 9 out of 10 pain every minute of their life. So they are so much harder to diagnose, to understand their pain level, and therefore then get them the right treatment. It's just a whole different ballgame. I wouldn't say for 1 second I'm an expert on that. All I can do is listen and just believe and just try, and whatever they say is right. Whatever they say about their pain is correct. If they say it's nothing, because that's the other thing, is they underestimate their level of pain all the time. There was a midwife, I was talking to her, she broke, what did she do? She dislocated her elbow once, and I've had a dislocated elbow, so all suddenly we're on the same page. But they didn't believe her, they didn't x-ray it, and she had it for a week before anybody realised, and they kept saying to her, it's fine, you're fine. And she said she had a talk to herself. She had a big talk to herself and told her body that everything was fine, and she wasn't experiencing the level of pain that she was telling them that she experienced, and she adjusted to that, and her pain level started off as a 9, came down to a 3. She still had the same dislocated elbow, yeah, until they finally acknowledged it and then popped it back in, and then it started to heal. I just thought, oh, what a lesson. What an incredible lesson. So chronic pain, so hard. Things that I've seen successfully treat. Acute pain is all about medication, ice, elevate. It's easy in comparison to chronic pain. So there's just, the standard things that you do. You put ice on a sprain, and you put warm stuff on things that poisons, like stonefish sting. You put that in hot water because you want to dissipate the poison out of the cells as fast as possible. Yeah, just it's really standard, and everyone knows it, and it's easier. Chronic pain, holy mackerel. We have whole teams in hospitals that deal with chronic pain. We call it the pain team, and they go in with a whole different set of tools to deal with that. They do things like epidural nerve blocks and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, steroid injections into joints and things, hydrocortisone, long-term stuff, cutting nerves, fusing spines, all sorts of really invasive, very, very different things in their toolbox. The thing I've seen that was amazing that works is people that can do self-hypnosis. So I've heard, I haven't actually seen this, but I've heard of people being able to hypnotise themselves into a state where they feel no pain during an operation. Like, what? Amazing. Sanjva probably knows more about that than I do, but those guys are incredible. And other differences in people with chronic pain, even though they don't sort of show it on the outside and they're not whinging all the time, it comes out in other ways. Like my dad has got crunchy shoulders. He's worn out his skeleton, but his shoulders are just horrific, and he can't lift his arms above his shoulders because they're just so horrible. But he's cranky. He's cranky all the time. Whatever you say to him, his first thing to do is jump down your throat about it, and that's how it comes out in him. And then if you say, what's going on, Dad? Are you really sore today? Then he has to think about it and go, oh, yeah, I am. So it's just amazing. And my mum does the other way. She comes from a generation where you couldn't be a sook. You had to suck it up. So she gets these horrifically painful ulcers on her legs called arterial diabetic ulcers, and they are just absolute agony. I can't even imagine. And she has tears pouring down her face when I'm doing dressings on her legs. And I go, is that hurting? And she goes, no, it's right. It's fine. Oh, my God, Mum. My auntie, my dad's sister, she got shingles. Like they said, she had the worst case of shingles they'd ever seen in the hospital. The young doctors came from all other wards to have a look at her. She had blisters, started in the middle of her back and came right under her arm, under her breast, just horrific. And she had chronic pain from that for the rest of her life, and she wore it like a badge of honour. Like, she loved it. She loved it. It was so weird. She loved that pain, and she would do things like put metho on her blisters. Can you imagine? And every time they broke down, she would put metho on there. I can't explain that. I can't explain it. So, but she absolutely loved that pain, and she died in agony from bone cancer. I don't know. What do you say? So, because pain means different things to different people. Yeah, and she just loved having something to whinge about. She had loved something to show people. Just bizarre. Yeah, so everybody, the takeaway is everyone is completely individual in their pain response, how they handle it, whether it destroys their life or it gives you something to live for. In my auntie's case, I would never have believed that if I hadn't seen that with my own two eyes. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, so from a medical perspective, that's kind of my point of view. I can't say anything about how to dealing with chronic pain myself because I just haven't been there. but Georgie has, so she might have a bit to add. Your turn, Georgie.
Yeah, well, this is just what I've been through, and like, like Rae says, everyone is different. Where do I start? When the first time that I had pain was I was driving like 4 hours to the property and I went to lift my hands above my head and I couldn't do it. And that's when, and I think I was about 32 then. And oh boy, hasn't it's been a journey since then. Like I did come good and then I went bad and then I did come good and went bad. But the first thing I did is went to a specialist, and I went in and I went to the doctor and went to the specialist, and they just grabbed my fingers and said that I had rheumatoid arthritis at 32. And they put me on these medication, and oh, the medication, I don't know, I was just 100 times worse then. And so I went off it. And then by the time it's sort of lots of things happened in life, and I suppose I think I've mentioned it before, like everyone used to say, oh, you're just stressed. You're stressed. That's why you've got pain. And I'm like, I'm not stressed. Like, that's not even a thing. But my body took it on. And by the time I was 40, probably 43, I had 3 children and 2 breakups. And the last breakup, yes, it wasn't very good. So I started in my neck, my lower back, and my knee. And I went to bone therapist, Aedt. I went to a chiropractor. First time ever at 45, I went to a chiropractor. And they used to all help me, but never, like, I was never A1, like, ever. And I think then I come to Mariba from Charters Towers, and I started up a childcare business, and I did childcare for 10 years. And yeah, really not looking after myself, a real stressful job and everything. And I think it was 2020, I think that like 23, I think I stopped work because I couldn't pass my CPR test because I had no strength. Like I could not even lift my mobile phone. Like, and that, I don't know, this is just what I experience now. I know, I didn't know back then, but it was the nutrition in my body, which helped the pain, and doing meditation, like with what was going around in my head. They were the 2 major things. And I got Korean bloodletting done, and that really helped me a lot. And acupuncture in my hands, and then I went because I thought, oh God, what am I going to do now? And then I seen spinal flow, and that's when I went and done spinal flow. And a friend of mine done me 4 times a week of spinal flow, and I started to come good. And even when I was there at the spinal flow for the week, they said, oh, you have to go off like gluten, dairy, caffeine and everything. And I'm like, that's, it'll be fine. I just keep doing it and doing it. But I tell you, when I went off those things and kept getting spinal flow and kept doing, I went on to Bali Life, a supplement. They put me on methotrexate and prednisone, which I went off in 2 weeks, because I was falling over and I was just so sick. And I went off that. And I started on Barley Life, and Herbal Fiber Blend was the 2 main supplements. And I started to come good, and I'm like, oh, there's something in this. And then I started eating better, and then I went off the caffeine, and then I went off the sugar all together. It's very hard, mind you, very hard off the caffeine and the sugar and bread. But I'm doing it. And don't get me wrong, I don't be hard on myself. If I want to have, or if I go out, I do still eat it, but I do pay for it. And but now I have gone more or less with fruit, and but in saying that, all vegetable with seeds. The doctor that I'm going to see, he believes that all the vegetable with seeds are fruit too, like capsicum, cucumber, and all that. So I make a lot of soups, and with the nutrition, I've got my pain down to my calf muscles and my feet. I never have any pain anywhere else. But going back many years, I was on Mobec for many years too, and that did not help me at all. So I knew that it was, this is just me. Like, I can't, say for anyone else, but the nutrition, once I done that and keep doing that, and I know if I don't do it for a week or 3 or 4 days, I really look for it now and get back, and I feel amazing. But I am off a cattle property, so I'm never going vegan. I know that. If I feel like meat, if I feel like fish, or feel like anything, I will have it. But all in mostly I do the fruit and veggies. And it's hard to get to that place when you have to do that. It's hard to go off everything. Yeah, so my thing is, like, don't be hard on yourself. Like, like, try and do it. If you have to do what I did, try and do it most of the time. But if you want to have it, then have it, because yeah, I think going with the flow with things now is a lot for me. And and alcohol. I don't now, being the nutrition and supplements that I'm on. I think I actually take this Ocean Trace Minerals, and that has really, really helped me. And silica and magnesium is the 3 ones that I take to now. And that's all I take. And I don't take it all the time. And a lot of it too is that you have good people around you. We've always, you have good people, you set boundaries. And yeah, you just be easy on yourself. And that's about all I will hand it over to you, Michael.
Thanks, Georgie. Yeah, it's interesting to hear other people's experiences in dealing with pain in different contexts. And it was interesting. Thanks, Rae, for sharing your experiences within sort of the field of healthcare as a nurse educator. It's interesting to get the experience of somebody who's seeing patients and dealing with patients on a regular basis, and how that informs how you approach, the whole topic of pain and health challenges in general. This is a particular topic of interest to me, partially because I deal with chronic pain. I have done for to a greater or lesser degree for more than 10 years now, and I'm sort of in my early 40s. But it's informed by other health conditions that I sort of continue to deal with, including a background of mild cerebral palsy and other challenges that have always sort of been part of my life since I was very, very young. So I'm not wanting to provide anyone with what sounds like a one-size-fits-all response to this question, because I don't necessarily think there is one. But in terms of what I found helpful in my own life, I have been very fortunate that I have had access to good medical care and specialists and so on that I trust. That doesn't mean I haven't had negative experiences. I certainly have. That doesn't mean I haven't encountered doctors who have minimized the pain that I've been in. I've had that experience both while being acutely ill and dealing with chronic health problems as well. I suppose what I would suggest echoes much of what Georgie has already said. So I think good nutrition is important. For me, one thing that made a big difference, and I struggled with it for a long time, was chronic pain affecting my sleep quality. So interrupting my sleep, making it difficult to get to sleep and then stay asleep when I got to sleep. That had a big effect on my physical health, and it then had a big effect on my mental health. So dealing with that was really important. One of the things that I do find is that if I'm going through a rough patch physically, that almost always has an effect eventually on my mental health. So it affects my mood, and it contributes to if you're genuinely unwell, it can make it hard to look on the bright side of life, put it that way. And I think that experience of chronic pain and elevated cortisol can also lead you to a point where you're feeling, and you in fact are quite stressed physically, mentally, emotionally. In terms of things that I think help, I think when you're dealing with acute but particularly chronic pain, a multidisciplinary approach is often necessary. So if you go to a good pain clinic, or you see a good pain management specialist, if they know their field well, they should be recommending, okay, have you seen a physio? Should I refer you to a psychologist? Should you see the social worker while you're still in hospital if you're an inpatient? And I've done all of those things and I've found them helpful. So please, if you're in that situation, try not to isolate yourself. I would say that it's important to know how to ask for help. And to put your hand up and say, actually, I'm not coping very well at the moment.
Mm.
I need something that's going to help, or I need someone, and it might just be someone to talk to. But being able to ask for help is I think quite important, and it doesn't always come naturally. Um, I'm just trying to think. One of the things that well, two of the things that were interesting that you mentioned, Anthea, and you mentioned, Sanji, was your experiences visiting people in hospital. So I think you mentioned that, Sanji. And the other thing that you mentioned, Anthea, was um, the Islamic perspective on coping with different kinds of pain. So I'll hand it over to you, Sanji, but if anybody else wants to say something by all means, but um I'm curious to hear more. So yeah, I'll hand it over to you, Sanji. Yeah, if you do have any advice on sort of dealing with those sensations that are painful or negative, or yeah, I'd be keen to hear it. So
Thank you, Mike. Does anybody have to like add something to or like tell regarding what Mike says? Please be do so. Yeah. So my in my experience, like Rae said and all, like I from small days I was like running around, falling many times, big wounds, and then stuck in barbed wire fences. Yeah, and then I just like put a pencil in my mouth and poured some surgical spirit, and it was like, and then the pencil broke. And then, like, because I could not tell my parents, no, and they were even more strict. No, it was better to pour something like that. So in a way, and then you go to school and then you play around and you always fall. And luckily, I always fall on the side of the face. It didn't like didn't so not fall on the like the nose. But there were times I broke my nose also. And then, but usually I fall like this. So and then we used to go for rugby practices, and we were like these cows and bulls, no, like the snow, like they had to run around, then put sand up, and then again the next batch has to come and put it back in, and then like all in the rain, and we used to have to play with big guys. I remember one guy coming and my lungs were like squashed, no, I could I was like I could not like a fish, no, and this guy was like big. We were like under 15 and they were like under 19, no, like giants with us, and we were like but we were like trying to fight them, no? And this guy just like gave a big like, and I felt my lungs as if they were stickered together, no? And I could not. And then one guy like, what is wrong now? And the ground was like really with gravel and all. You end up with all the wounds, and then and actually, in many times I used like some wounds I had as advantages to cut, like do without doing homework and all. I just show like I have this, and then the teacher does, don't you get this wound? And it was like my middle finger. No? Like, really, I had wrapped it like a bug. But in the evening, I was go and play like with the, and it again get worse. No, I still have the scars. So and later on, I almost died like two times. One time I fell on a rock And then the other time, I was stuck in a cave, and then luckily some people found me. But all of the time, what I witnessed was like, this just happened. And then uh, I felt like at that time very comfortable. Even if I had to go at that time, I thought, hey, they were laughing at me. I felt like I was on a bed of cotton wool or something, which I had fallen on the rock, right? And I cut my leg and everything. And then they came and shook me. They had carried me back. And then they shook me, and then only all the pain came, no? And I was like, come on, no, what did you do? Like, yeah, I was very happy, even if I could have just let it go. And I felt very comfortable at that time. But when I came back to the kind of like more this consciousness, like I felt all the pain and everything. And inside the cave, I just felt like the energy just going and coming back, going and coming back. It was like a old kind of bulb, like the tungsten bulb that they dim and get brightened. So in a way that helped me, but being a monk, you had to work and then break. I was breaking stones, and then there were times like I got all these bruises, and then I was like keeping a stick still under my like a stick with a Y-shaped stick, and then I was still limping and going, and all those things and the hard work and everything like made the mind like really strong, and then the pain was like kind of part of it. And so even when I had a huge problem with the back and all, like felt it like ripping off, like tearing. And I still was working, no, like idiot, and then it made it worse, and then I had to go and lay off. And we used to go to the gym and all, and I think like people, like you said, like take pain in different ways. I'm not putting shade or anything. I have no things like people go through a lot of things, no, in life. So I didn't have broken limbs or anything like that, but and in a way, like in meditation and all, I was just staying in seated posture and all, and trying to see how far the the body can sustain, no? And then at some point, like it goes to the maximum, and then after that, after about 5 hours, if you don't move even, after 3 hours, oh my gosh, it's like unbearable. Like all before the concentration and everything. I mean, if you're just like in a raw mood and just sitting, we tried it and see just to see how far it goes. Then after about five, everything becomes numb, and then it's like flight mode. You don't feel nothing, but later when you try to stretch, it's very painful. But after that, but there was one time I just sat and the pain, and I felt the mind was coming and telling me like, oh, you, this will happen, that will happen, because at the time, like we are, how to say, restrained, uh, because we can, other times we can easily move our body, no, or maybe or like the very basic of things. But if you like are restrained to something, like even the smaller things, the movements, no, even a sip of water or anything, even a breath, even it seems like a luxury, right? And then the body craves. Uh, then it adds like a huge percentage more. Then the fear, anxiety, all this comes. It adds like 50% of weight on that. So I felt this clearly. Yeah, and it's not that the pain doesn't exist, but I felt my mind like just piling up from the past, or you get the injury back. What are you doing? Just stretch, it's not a big deal. You can do it again. All these things. Yeah, what if you cannot do it again? And then it's like 50%. Then I waited till the pain became like maximum, as it like it was like going to rip off the sockets. Then it just switched to heat. It gave the maximum thing, because it cannot go beyond, right? Uh, I know people go so like very gruesome conditions. I'm not telling I went through any of those, no, through accidents or some things, no, disasters and all kind of things. But for me, like it went to the maximum and it turned into heat. Then what happened? Then it just was a pulse. Uh, the pain was there, but it just like it was not that pain I was afraid of it anymore. So in a way, like, and there were times when the back pain was happening. We'll talk about, I think next turn will be very good, like how we all manage, no, like to face. Because first time when I got the back problem, I was really afraid. I don't know, or maybe I get like paralyzed or, well, because I didn't know. And then the doctors gave like a ton of painkillers. And in the daytime, I was fast asleep. In the nighttime, I woke up as if it was broad daylight. It was like upside down, no? And then for that time, it was gone. But again, it was like somebody sharpened a stick and stuck it across the spine. It was very painful, no? And then later, then I went to do like what do you call homeopathy, and then Ayurveda. Ayurveda really worked. Uh, so, uh, but still the pain was there. And then I started like talking to the pain or like negotiating with the pain. No? Then it came to a point like understanding. Okay, you also be there. I'm also first. It's like get out. No, don't be. You don't belong. Or like I don't want you. No. Then it becomes worse. Then it came somehow that I had to adjust in a way like okay, you're also there. I'm also there. You can come and stay and all that. But I also want to be here. Then it came to acceptance. Okay, no problem. You can come anytime, be here. I'll do my thing. So, in a way, it freed the mind. We'll talk about these things. I have seen many people, animals. Uh, yeah, I've been with animals who were dying, and some people had poisoned them. I could not do anything at all. They were in so much pain. Even if I tried to like give them some water, they would try to bite me. And it was pitch in the dark in the night, and it was very far away. So and people, no, you see, like they also go through so much pain. And all the practices I understood, like the physical pain and the mental pain. And surely they are interconnected, but there is a way we can like kind of like remove our mental side from it. Uh, in a way we don't, it's not like we won't feel any pain. Even enlightened beings, they also feel the pain. uh, it's not that, but they kind of detached the identification of self or that personality or the acceptance of it. But still they fought, but I think it was like huge percentage of was taken away. And then with that personal identification, then there's all the anxieties and all the fears and all that, no? The frustrations, agitations, all that comes. And not only that, they were even testing because some people, even without, like the doctors were checking when they were checking my back also, no, like the spine. And I remember I also had that kind of feeling like it was so because everybody was like trying to check there, no? Later, even before touching it, I felt like pain, no? And then because like it was get like habitual, but this person didn't even like poke it, no? So it comes like a mental state, like you're so like a habitual pattern. Uh, then like it's like your nerve system has spread out, no? You are not in the area, but it's more psychological, right? And I think if you can separate that mental state, it's a learning process and all that. And there are practices of that we can focus and see also our mind. Okay, I'll hand it over to Anthea, and we can share maybe like how we all cope up with the situations we went through, no?
Thank you so much, Sanji, and thank you also Rae and Georgie and Michael for sharing. I've really enjoyed listening to what you've had to say, and I'm learning a lot, seeing things from different perspectives. So thank you very much for that. And Sanji, what a handful you were as a little boy. Wow. Thank God for meditation is all I can say. I think that, and feel free to add your thoughts. I think that there's still a lot more to discuss. I reckon I've got a lot more that I would love to touch on. So perhaps we can go around with some closing thoughts for this evening, or sort of final comments, and then we can have another session on facing chronic pain and sort of helpful solutions that we've found. So what I wanted to share was that that mental aspect that Sanji was talking about, and also Michael talked about it. So when I started experiencing chronic pain, I noticed that, yeah, there was a lot of stress, the ongoing stress with elevated cortisol levels, and also fear and anxiety that I had experienced them before, but there was like chronic fear and anxiety that came with the pain, especially when the pain was quite bad. So yeah, there's that mental health aspect, and there's lots of ways that we can help ourselves position possible to and as Michael was saying, like, it's a multidisciplined approach. There's so many aspects. Everybody has their own journey, their own health journey, their own life journey, but perhaps certain people have their own chronic pain journey as well. What I also wanted to touch on was that from an Islamic perspective, so pain is seen as like it has effects that it's like a blessing or a merit or a virtue. So although because it's very challenging and because it requires a lot of patience, so pain is really seen as something, it's definitely a trial, but it's something that can cleanse or purify us of sort of, if you want to, it depends which way you see things and your own personal philosophies or religious or non-religious points of view. But if you're someone who believes in shortcomings or sins or mistakes that we made that build up perhaps on our heart, that's what Islam teaches, that pain is a way of like cleansing our hearts, cleansing ourselves and purifying ourselves of negativity, we'll say. So it is something that is helpful, although it's very, very challenging. They also talk about in Islam about where there's hardship, there's ease. So there's always one or there's the other, either together or following each other. So like if something, this is a little bit more of a broader discussion, philosophical discussion, but if something in our lives is we have a real blessing, we have something that's really easy, and then following that, there will be something that's more of a challenge, and so on and so forth. We have like the hills and valleys of life, the peaks and valleys. And I also just wanted to mention as well, for people who are learned in Christianity or have studied the Bible or know about the Bible, Job in the Bible, he experienced an enormous amount of pain and many, many different illnesses. And that's sort of another area in itself, but another figure from history and from faith that has been seen as being a very blessed and sort of higher raised person because of the pain and illness that they've experienced. That is pretty much all I want to say for now, because there's so much more that I would like to talk about. So I'll wrap it up there. Would love to hear other people's closing thoughts, and would love to have look forward to a part 2 of facing chronic pain and helpful solutions if everybody else thinks that's a good idea. So I'll pass it over to Rae. Thank you.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you, Anthea. There are so many things we could say, but I'll just have one closing thought, and that is that I've always considered grief to be chronic pain. I've seen people die from that. They call it broken heart syndrome. So, yeah, it's chronic pain. Georgie.
Yeah, I yeah, agree with you all on everything. Like yeah, it's really good listening to the whole lot. Yeah, and definitely I don't yeah, as Michael said, right, and and well, everyone, don't isolate yourself. Don't isolate yourself. Everyone is different. Get your, and you just do what you have to do or what you can do. Yeah, I was isolated for probably 2 years and just sleeping yeah, and I forgot to mention that. Yeah, my hips and legs, I never slept. Like, I only slept an hour here, an hour there, but I proceeded to sleep lots through the day, and so yeah, it's no good for your mental health. So yeah, definitely don't. That's one thing. Don't be isolated and try and get what you need. That's all. Over to you, Michael.
Yeah, I still think there's probably plenty to unpack. One resource that I found helpful when not too long after I sort of was diagnosed with chronic pain or started seeing a pain management specialist was I went to a short course that was run by a clinical psychologist who also taught yoga. And it was based on the work of Dr. John Kabat-Zinn. It's called mindfulness-based stress reduction. And he wrote a book called Catastrophe Living, and I found that helpful at the time because, again, it was about finding coping strategies that borrowed from psychology and um, other modalities, including a bit of hypnosis. And so, yeah, I can recommend that from a sort of a patient's point of view. But as much as possible, I would just recommend that people try and keep an open mind. A lot of things will be trial and error. You will have to try different things, find it doesn't work for you, and then move on to the next thing. And sometimes you've just got to try and hang in there as best you can. That's easier said than done, I know, but just try and put one foot in front of the other as best you can, and that things can get better. So on that thought, I will pass it over to Sanji.
Thank you, Mike. So pain, we can see like even if somebody's healthy, like if a person goes to the gym, it's not like they're going to rest on some like nice cushion or something. They lift these weights and no like kilograms or pounds of metal, and it's painful, right? Even if you do like some hard work or something at home, also the pain is there, right? So some people intentionally cause themselves pain, even if they're healthy, no? Some people, and some people in some rituals and all, they also do that kind of things uh, for some reason. No, they some say the sins are gone or anything, no. But so in a way, like you said, like yeah, and as per like what Ray said, there are like rishis and all like who had separated their mind or the consciousness or the soul from the body, and they can just like even do surgeries or anything, and they don't feel anything, like they were anesthetized, no? So, but they had done it with the mind itself. And then I saw some stories and real life experiences like people had, for example, in the war times and all. Like one person said, like they saw the enemies coming and then they were like reacting, no? And then later after how to say that attack was finished, he started walking or like, and then he saw some liquid coming, from, and he was like, "What is this?" No, and then it was his foot bleeding. So then I asked, like, how, no, like, and he said, like, at that time the fear of life is so much, everything goes like blurry, and he didn't feel anything at all. And actually, a bullet had come and go through in his boot, the sole of his foot, and gone into his foot. He had not felt it even. And I saw another soldier. This was in another country. In here also, like he said, like there was a bomb explosion, and then he did not feel anything at all after it happened. But when they tried to bring him back to life, he said the pain was horrific. But that's just another we can talk. And I think definitely we can talk about this topic. There's so much to share. Yeah, I would like to end up. There was a soldier. He got shot everywhere, and somehow he was the only survivor. The other party didn't find him, so he was like he could not walk or anything. So somehow other they had not found him or thought he was dead or something. And what he did was, like, he had crawled back to his base, like many, many kilometers. He was bleeding and everything. I think it's so much pain, no? Then they have asked him, like, how did you even do that? Because somebody would just give up, right? He had a knife, it seems, only that. Uh, he had drawn a line in front of him, like 2 feet, and he would reach that, it seems. And then again another 2 feet. Then he would reach that. Like that, he was crawling back. Luckily, I think nobody else found him, like the opposite side. Huh? And nobody had found him to help him also. But he had somehow the crawled back to his base. So we can see, like, even some people who had gone through like horrific situations, when the mind, for some reason, it could be because of fear of life, uh, or like sheer determination, uh, they can overcome uh, pain. So if we can also like make our mind strong, we'll talk about ways and solutions now next. And there are meditation practices, and we purposefully, not that we are torturing ourselves, but purposefully put it in a small sense in our mind, to see the endurance or make the endurance more, for our physicality as well as the mentality, to accept pain. Or like even kind of like surrender. Surrender means in a good way, not the fighting method, no? And then the acceptance, and to see it in a different way, be mindful about it. Then like you can separate and then things like how to say non-self factors. There are so many things that are possible, but I'm not telling they are easy or anything like that. But if we slowly, and especially when we are at a healthier state, because we all will be aging, right? And we see when we are supporting the elders and all what they go through, even the basic things, no? So it's always better to put ourselves in a very wholesome and a protective environment, uh, and then accustom our mind for that. So we knew it was not an unexpected thing. We knew it was coming. We are ready for it. Even the worst, like Mike's, like Venerable Achan Brahman, so he says, like, next time you go to the doctor, don't say, "Oh my gosh, doctor, I didn't know what happened to me." Like you are the first person who came up with some kind of thing, or you broken foot or something like that. Because there were millions before us, right? Who so said, go to the doctor and say, "Doctor, I have a normal thing." Just like he was telling, no, because we act like we are the first people. who get this kind of illness. No, but there were many before us, and there will be in the future also, no? So if we can take it in a way like that seems like normal, oh, this is what happens, or this is how the body is. And in ancient times, it says the body is more fragile than the mind. Lujjati ruppati iti rupo. That means like it's so fragile, our body, or the mentality, materiality, sorry. Because from heat or cold or like insects, serpents, or anything, or like food we eat, the posture we are in, if we don't drink some proper amount of water, it's like we are always trying to balance the elements. You change the posture, you have to, even in sleep, you have to move, no? You feel like one side is heated up or something. Or it's getting numb or something. Then we slightly, even in our sleep, we toss and turn. So and mostly like it's out of our control. That's why it doesn't stay as anything, no? Even our eyesight or anything, the skin or organs or none of not that we have to take good care of it, no? But it's like something we borrowed. Later at some point we have to give it back, no? For the environment or world or universe or anything like where it belongs, no? It's like we borrowed this vessel temporarily, and we will have to hand it over, but until then we take good care. So if we can accustom our mind to all these things, it will be a better journey. Not that we have to it should happen or anything like that, but if we are even ready for the worst, then we can keep our mind healthy. And there was like some early ancient, like I'll just finish with this. There was a person who was very sick and elderly. He went to a enlightened being and said, "Oh sir, like my body is like a broken carriage. It has all these pains and aches and all this. I'm so sick now." And then this person has advised this person, although the body is sick, never make your mind sick. The body is bound to be like that, but you can try to keep your mind healthy. Or with that, I'll finish this. Anthea, over to you. Well, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So I was just making lots of notes, Sanji, so that's why I wasn't quite ready to speak, but because you were sharing so many gems. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sanji. Thank you, Rae. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Georgie, for your participation this evening. Thank you for adding your insights and your experience from life and professionally, Rae. That was really helpful. And spiritually, Sanji, it's always amazing and fascinating to listen to your insights and the way that you think. So let's wrap it up for this evening. It was a fascinating discussion as always. So just thinking ahead, perhaps next week it's up to you guys because I won't be here on the call, that is. You could discuss the ego part 2 with Georgie and Rae, and then we can pick up more discussions about pain as guided. But until then, good night and thank you so much for everything.
Good night, everybody, and then have a good rest.
Take care.
Okay.
Thanks.
Then next week we'll do like the second part of dealing with ego, because we were waiting to hear what Rae and Georgie has to say about it. Okay.
Oh, okay. I'll have to
Okay.
think about that.
I'll post the video. I was sick these days, and then you can have a look what the three of us was talking about, and we
Okay.
would like to have your input about it. That's why we want to do a second part also. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Then have a good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Get
Bye.
well.
Okay.
Okay.
See you. Talk to you all soon.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.